Hey everyone, it's Rob here from Octagon, and welcome to another Divi UI challenge. This is our third one, and what you see on the screen right now is what we'll be making. It's a really nice, what I'd say is a hero section of a web page. So typically you'd find this on the home page of a website, and this is what sits right at the top there. You've got your core message, your core call to actions, and this one actually calls out a couple of the features, or what I'm saying, big features of whatever this particular website may be promoting. So let's jump straight into it and let's build this thing out. So I was playing with the front end editor a little bit for this one. So it was really good to be able to, I guess, see how that all comes together, and which is really good. But as normal, we're going to use the back end editor to build this page out. But like always, you can use the front end editor as well. So we're just going to go to new page, and I'm just going to call this superhero section. I'll call it 2 because I have already had a previous page called superhero section, so let's do that. And like I usually do when I'm using a template and designing like this, I just flick it over to blank page. That just removes the footer and the menu, which just makes it a little bit easier to design when you're previewing back and forth. So use the Divi builder. Cool. Let's just hit publish on that. So I've actually experimented a little bit actually with creating these sort of not off-the-shelf hero sections. You know, when you're trying to introduce some extra UI elements like we have with ours here, with these, or even trying to get an overlaid menu. And there's a few different ways of doing it, and it sort of comes down to what you're wanting to achieve. One of the key driving factors on this particular one is that I wanted to use an image background. And what that means is that we have to try and, as much as possible, contain all of our, all our builder elements within the single section, because that way we can apply our background image to the section, and it sort of, it covers everything. Where if we're using multiple sections, it gets a little bit trickier. So I'm just going to hit preview. That'll get that open up and running. Cool. So let's get going. First of all, let me remind myself what I've got going on in there. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at is the container for our little logo there. So insert column. I'm going to just do a half column, split column like that, 2-column layout, I should say. And currently our logo is just one of the icons from the blurbs, but obviously you probably have a proper logo that you would insert via just the image module. So let's go with this, and have this little where is it? You've probably already seen it. There it is. Icon color. Let's go with white. Circle icon, no. Image placement. It doesn't really matter, but left. Do we want animation? I'm going to say no. No text. That shouldn't matter. Advanced design settings. Okay, I think we're good on that front. One thing I'll do before we preview is I'll actually set a block color for our section background just while we're working. And I've got a couple of colors here all ready to go. So I'm going to use a dark blue background color. Oops. There we go. Let's hit preview, see what we got. Cool, so there's our little logo. All right, next bit is we want to, I'm going to do another row, just because I feel like we should try and contain or group our modules within rows, if that makes sense. You probably don't have to, but it's just sort of the way my brain thinks. So you group related modules within rows. So we've got our logo, and the next section is we're going to build out this text and this button. So you could use a call to action module to do this, but I am actually going to just do it like this. No particular reason, probably just because that's the way I did it when I made it. Let's get some dummy text. Let's grab that there. Whoops. Oops, where am I? That can be our big heading. Let's just grab, no, let's grab just this bit for our little subheading bit. Check a full stop on that, highlight that, set that as H1. Cool. All right, before we jump over to preview, I did set it to light because we want a white text on our dark blue background and left orientation. Advanced design settings, alrighty. Head fonts. One of my favorite web fonts is this one called Montserrat. I find myself using it all the time. So to bold, all caps. I think I had it to 54 pixels. We'll check that soon. Header text color. I'm pretty sure we can leave it white because because we set over here to light, it should just make it white. Header lines, letter spacing, leave it 0. Headline height. That's fine. Okay, text font. What did I use? That's right. I used Lato Light. Another really nice. Well, lights I wouldn't usually use for body copy because this is a bit of a subheading. It's okay. It's just very fine. But Lato is actually a really good body font in my opinion. Text font size, I'm going to up that to, I think I had it at 18. Text color, cool. So I did have a light blue that I'd defined for our little subheading. When I say subheading, I'm meaning this little section here. Text letter spacing 0, line height, I think 1.7 is good. Background color, leave it, no border. All right, let's see what we got. Cool. So this is bunched over this way. I'm just gonna, I think it's because we've got quite big words as opposed to it not having enough space. It's just that we've got long words. So just for the sake of the demo, I'm just gonna use the same text. Save me having to play around with font size. Let's replace that. Cool. Cool. Oh, that's right. One difference, a little bit more line height, and we also have that subheading or the paragraph text italicized. Where are we? So actually, if I do it there, it will apply it to the heading as well. So I'm going to do it like this. So I've just set it within the text edit. A little bit of a quirk. I've noticed that if over here I set the text font to italic here, it applies it to the header as well, whereas I only want it for that subheading one. And the other thing was we had a little bit more line height. So what's this like? Yep, cool. Double check that. Nice. All right. Next thing we want to do is our pink button. Keep it in that same row. I feel those particular modules sort of belong together, so I'll group them in the same row. Let's give it a hash for a URL in the same window is fine. What did I have? I had a try now. Button alignment left, text color, that doesn't matter. Cool, advanced design. Yes, we want to use custom styles. Button text size, 20 is too big, 16 is nice. Button text, white, button background color. Okay, so the pink I'm using is this one here. Oops. Button border width. Doesn't matter, but we'll leave it at 2. Button border color. This is pink again. Radius for the border. Oops. 0. Button letter spacing 1. Button font, our Montserrat again. So we're using Montserrat for headings, buttons, and menu items, and we're using Lato Light for body copy. Where are we? Starts with M, Montserrat. Buttons, we're going to make all caps. Add button icon, yes, oops. We have an icon, don't we? We do. Little right-hand arrow. Just in case, we're going to set it to white. It should carry over from the text color anyway. Right-hand side, only show icon on hover. No, I want it to permanently display. One of the reasons why is just because I like it when it's displaying all the time. But also, I'm going to play with the button padding a little bit in custom CSS. And when you've got icons that display on hover, if you're using custom CSS to define the padding, it does mess it up a little bit. But I'll show you. You'll see what I mean. Button hover text color. Okay, let's just quickly define these. I should still have my pink on. Just going to darken that. Actually, no, that's not darkening it. There we go. Button hover border radius 0, letter spacing 1. Okay, let's quickly preview like this, see what we're looking like. Cool. Okay, so the difference between this button here and our one over here is this one's a bit wider. We're going to achieve that by, where are we? Button one, so padding left, I think it was 30 pixels, and padding right, 40 pixels. Let's have a look. Okay, I think it's because in this case I have to apply important to ensure my styling is prioritized. Hopefully this works. Okay, that's starting to work. So you'll notice that I did 30 on the left and 40 on the right. That's because with these buttons, the padding is actually from the edge of the letters. Icons are actually delivered a little bit differently and actually sit over the top of the padding. So if you consider that the padding is just to there, you'll see that distance there is bigger than this distance here. So I'm actually going to, I feel that's a nicely balanced looking amount of padding on each side, but actually going to make it a bit bigger. So I had 30 and 40, I'm actually going to make it 40 and 50. And it's just one of those things you play with until it looks right. Cool. So there's our button. All right, next thing are these the 3 features down the bottom. This is nice and simple, but really cool. We're going to do 3-column row. We're going to do a blurb. Big feature 1 URL. We'll just do a hash for now. Use icon, yes. What was our first icon? Settings. Icon. Icon color is pink. Do I still have it? I do. Ah, no, that's the darker one. I want the original pink. There we go. Circle icon, no. Image icon placement, left. Image icon animation. I'm going to, no. For some reason, I'm personally just not a fan of lots of animations. So my default is to set the no, and then on occasion I'll add animation. Text color, doesn't matter because we're going to define. Actually, no, I will do light. Text orientation left, and I'm going to just grab this little snippet there, paste it in there without formatting. Great. So let's have a quick look. Cool. So that's the bones of it. Advanced design settings. I think the font size was good for the icon. Header font, we're going to go Montserrat again. And bold. Yep. think 18 is good. Text color was already white. Letter spacing, line height, that should be fine. Body font, we want our Lato light. Font size, slightly smaller, 13 pixels. Body text color, okay, we want our light blue again. Letter spacing, line height should be fine. Background color, leave that. Everything else, that should be it. Great. So let's duplicate that twice. And next to icons, this little atom and a camera. Obviously, it can be whatever. I just picked those ones because they looked cool. And big feature 2. Where's our camera? There it is. 3. Hit update. Previewing. Looking good. All right, so next thing is I'm going to adjust the padding around this section in the middle, give it a bit more space, top and bottom, and reduce the padding underneath this section just to bring it a little closer to the base. So that's fairly simple. So this is our row that contains the heading, subheading, and the button. Padding should be just here. I think I had 80 and 120. Let's give it a go. Bit much. Maybe it was 80, maybe it was 60 and 80. But once again, it's just one of those things you play with until it's right. Let's roll that. I am going to reduce the padding on this row, which is our 3 blurbs row, just 0 down the bottom. Keep pasting, and I want to keep that on mobile. As always, it's important to check all your different screen sizes. Great, that's looking pretty good. You know, slightly different spacing, but looking pretty nice. Cool, all right, let's get our photo in the background. Easiest step of all, section, settings, background image. And I got this image over from good old Unsplash. There you go, that one there. And then I just threw it in a little photo editor program and put a bit of a blue wash over it. Cool. So the last thing I want to do is this menu that sits over the top. Everything else has been pretty easy so far. This is when we get a little bit tricky. And look, there's possibly a better way to do this, but this is the best way I've found so far. So what we want to do is full width section. Basically, I wish there was a module, a standard width module for menus, but there isn't at the moment. So that's on my Christmas wish list. To the Elegant Themes guys, what am I looking for? Menu. Select a menu. This is just one I created earlier over menus in the WordPress admin. It's just superhero menu with these 3 links. So superhero menu, background color. Okay, this is important. We want it to set to transparent. Whenever I do transparent, I don't know why, it's a habit. I always set to white and then reduce the opacity all the way down to 0. So 255, 255, 255, 0. Text color, light, because it will be sitting over the top of our dark background. Text orientation, want it over on the right-hand side. That's fine, that's fine. Everything else is fine. Okay, we also need to, this is the full width section settings. We also need to set this background to transparent. Okay, so it's really important you do these things in this order, because what we're about to do now, so we are still in the full width section settings. I'm going to custom CSS. We're going to write some custom CSS. So main element, first thing we're going to do is position absolute. Now whenever you position anything absolute or fixed, things can get in the way of each other. So that's why I said to get all those other settings right first and then do this. You can always obviously undo it, but it's just nice to do these things first. So position absolute. Width, I know I want to set to 100%. And I want to position it to the top of its container at 0 pixels. So I think I've done this correctly. Let's find out. Okay, I'm just going to update that. And because I'm logged in, I've got this top WordPress bar thing going on. It does play with a little bit, but I'll just open up in incognito so I'm not logged in. This is, and load it here. We should have a bit more space. Yep, there we go. So the last thing I'm going to do is basically all our elements there. So we're pretty much done. The last thing I'll do is I just want to move this logo a little bit further up the page. So I'm just going to do that by reducing the padding on there. Hit update, wait for that to save, refresh, cool. Bit better, I'd move it up a tiny bit more and possibly even increase the spacing around this section a little bit more. But otherwise, that's it. Really, what I think is a really nice looking hero section for a website that includes some pretty cool and unique elements that aren't just out of the box div. You know, you have to think these things through, and but I think we've created something really nice here. So I hope that really helped you. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.